In less than 1 month, Nintendo has been able to sell 1.5 million Nintendo Switch units. If you guys think that's dead on arrival, then there's something wrong with you. And we're going to get into that here today, right now. Now, Nintendo, on March 3rd, 2017, released the Nintendo Switch, codename NX, and it is only as of today of this recording, March 17th, 2017, and they've already sold 1.5 million units. Now, the thing with Nintendo is they said they want to sell at least 2 million units in their very first month. Now, if you ask me, I think they're on the right track right now. However, there have been a few hiccups along the way with the Nintendo Switch. However, I have not been on the receiving end of those hiccups, but we're going to talk about those today because some people might see those as a reason to not pick up the system. Now, I think the biggest reason to not pick up the system right now is the fact that there's only really one die-hard game to have. Yes, people want to get Bomberman. People, for whatever reason, want to get 1-2 Switch. I say don't get 1-2 Switch at all under any circumstance. Now, me, I bought the Switch day one because I'm waiting for Splatoon 2, which I still should have been called Splatoon with the big 2 instead of the T, but whatever. That is what it is. Different topic for a different episode. But the game that everyone's picking up right now is Zelda. Zelda, right here. There we go, Zelda. Now, this is Wind Waker, obviously. Breath of the Wild is the game that everyone picked up. I myself also got a Switch, and I'm loving it to death. But we're going to go into the pros and cons today in this episode. Hopefully it won't be too long, guys, so I hope you enjoy this one. So, we're going to get right into it with the most irritating con that I hear a lot of people have, and that's the fact that this screen scratches very easily. And the reason for that is plastic screen. Not Gorilla Glass, not tempered glass, nothing like that. Plastic screen. It is capacitive, it's not resistive, but plastic screen. Now, I know Nintendo did that because they didn't want these things being dropped by kids so they wouldn't just instantly shatter if it had a glass screen. However, a lot of people are noticing that because of this plastic screen, it is scratching very easily from either just being used, from being touched, or I guess not the most commonly thing, but from what I'm hearing, I haven't had this problem myself, is that the dock that you actually put these things in is scratching up the consoles itself, and that is kind of unforgivable. You kind of would have thought that in all the development stages for the Nintendo Switch, that Nintendo would have inserted these things in and out of those docks, and you figured there had to be some scratches along the way. Now, maybe some people just are putting it in backwards. Maybe some people don't know what they're doing, and they're like putting it in at an angle. You're supposed to just put it directly in. And as you can see, I mean, my screen's dirty, but I've had no issues. It is completely scratch-free, no scratches, no cracks, no other thing. And haven't used the dock much. I've used the dock maybe 5 times because really, I like playing this on the go. It's really great for that. As for the dock station, it is what it is. Now, I would like to chalk up the scratching to user error. Take care of your console. That's pretty short and simple. Take care of your console. It's not hard. Especially if you're paying the money that people pay for these brand new consoles. Get a screen protector. I don't have one yet, but you know what? This never leaves the house, and I'm very careful with this thing. So yeah, that is what that is. But it would have been nice to see this thing with a glass screen instead of the plastic screen, but hey, you take what you can get. And honestly, what we got was a pretty nice system. A really good feeling system, but we'll get into that in the pros. Because right now we're still on the cons. And another one, and I'm saying this is with new technology, even though it's not really new technology. It's basically indicative of NVIDIA's Shield tablet, which is basically the same exact thing as the Switch. It's just Nintendo decided to work with NVIDIA, use their technology, and that's how we got this. So I want to say this is just very minuscule issues people are having with their Switches, where it either won't turn on, the screen starts flickering, or it makes a shrieking noise, or the game freezes, or this or that. But you know what? Technology. It happens with all sorts of technology. 3DS, PSP, consoles, PCs. Technology just has a few hiccups here and there. But you know what? Just because a couple hiccups happen does not mean that that is a bad thing. Now, for me, my console works perfectly fine. Turns on no problem. I think it's charged. Yep, there it's charged. Works no problem at all. Love it. The battery life could be better. I mean, I'm playing Breath of the Wild only because that's the only game right now worth having for the Switch. And I'm getting around 2.5 hours to almost 3 hours. So more or less what they actually said that you would be getting with Zelda Breath of the Wild on handheld mode. Because I really don't care to play it on TV right now, just because I don't. No specific reason for that, just personal preference. And really, in terms of cons, I know people have also had problems with the Joy-Con, especially the left Joy-Con, going out or not syncing. I myself have not had that issue yet. But again, because I play on handheld mode, it's right there next to the sensor. I probably will not be experiencing that until maybe I throw it onto a TV, into the dock, and do it like that, playing like a regular console. So I haven't experienced that yet. Only time will tell on that one. Who knows? I might get it. I might not. Who knows? I know with the Pro Controllers, at least, I haven't heard the Pro Controllers having any desyncing issues, just the left Joy-Con. So maybe that's just isolated issues. Maybe it was fixed in patches. I don't know. It sounds like it would be more of a software, or it could be a software issue more than it would be the hardware issue, because I've heard more cases of these things being perfectly fine rather than them not working. I've heard like maybe 15 cases of these things not working, but that's just me. I did some research, but not a whole lot, because, well, a lot of the problems with the Switch out there, you guys already know. The screen scratching, the dock scratching the screen, the Joy-Con on the left losing sync, or the thing just not working in general. And you know what? For those people who have a console that doesn't work, I feel for you. That, honestly, that's not sarcasm. That sucks. Having this thing day one, or buying it day one, or buying it and then having it not work, that sucks. But you know what? Nintendo, yeah, it would be great if they had better quality control than that. But you know what? Sometimes things slip through the cracks, and things aren't always their fault. Sometimes things just happen, guys, because I believe these are produced or manufactured through Foxconn. And if you guys know anything about Foxconn, their history isn't exactly the greatest. So I feel for those people, but at the same time, I'm not going to condemn Nintendo. But really, I personally don't have many cons with this. My biggest con with this is this right here. If we can show this on screen, and it is that. Right there, it is the little stand that you can actually set the console up on. I don't like that because, honestly, that feels cheap and flimsy. Now, I've heard this was designed like that to be a breakaway unit, so that if you do drop it or this is out, instead of like just bending or breaking or hurting the system itself, that'll just break off. You know what? Fair enough, but at the same time, I don't want that to break off. I really, really don't. But I don't like it. Feels flimsy. I kind of wish there was two of them, or that it was in the middle. I don't know. I think that it's there because, at least on this small chipset, they had to have a spot for the SD card, which is literally hidden right underneath that. And I don't like where that's placed, but I'm going to get onto that right now for a reason. I don't like that I have to lift this up and down to get to the SD card slot. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But, you know what? It is what it is. Now, with the SD card slot, the reason why I don't like that is it's 2017, Nintendo. Why in 2017 can I not insert or remove an SD card on your brand new console that's not even a month old, and it tells me to either turn off the console or I have to reset itself? Why is that a thing? I mean, I have smartphones. I have old smartphones that are literally the very first smartphones that Google made, like the Motorola Droid, the Droid X, and the X2, or whatever they were called. I have old tablets. I have so many things that if I take out the SD card or I insert an SD card, it does not make me reset the whole system. Why do I have to do that for you, Nintendo? It happened with the Wii U, and it's happening with the NX. I don't remember it happening with the Nintendo Wii, but you know what? I never entered an SD card into my Wii, so yeah, that is what that is. But why, in 2017, do I have to turn off the console to insert an SD card? That is... It's just stupid. I mean, and I know that's a programming thing. Why is the programming, the UI, set up like that? Why is the system set up like that to where I have to turn off the console to insert and take out an SD card if I want to get, like, say, my photos or my screenshots or things like that off of it? Because the save data is not on there, because the save data saves directly to the console itself. You can't, as of right now, which I'm sure they can upgrade in the softwares in the future, but as of right now, you cannot pull your saved files off of this console. So if your console goes belly up and it fries or breaks itself, well, guess what? There went all your save data. There's no cloud services. There's no sending it to the external SD card. Nothing like that. So that's kind of shitty. I don't really like that. That's an oversight on Nintendo's part. But that's something they can fix in software. The SD thing, that can be fixed in software. The transfers, that can be fixed in software. But really, that's all I have for my negatives of the console. Now, this one can be seen as, we'll go to the positives, this one can be seen as a hit or miss for some people, and that is these. The Joy-Cons themselves are very tiny. I feel they are nicely designed. However, I have big, spindly, spidery hand fingers, and if I just hold this one by itself, it's a right pain in the ass for me to travel all the way down to touch this actual freaking nub right here, the Joy-Con stick. That is a right pain in the ass for me because I have to literally remove my whole hand because of my long ass fingers, and it's just holding the buttons, no problem. That's comfortable. The actual pad, that's not comfortable for me. But when it's as a unit, you know what? I got used to it. I had my issues with this thing at first. When I first heard that it was going to be a flat back and it's not forming your fingers, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have issues with this thing sliding out my hands. My fingers won't feel right at home behind it. But even though it's flat and it took some getting used to, you know what? Feels fine. I have big man hands, and you know what? This feels fine in my man hands. I have no problem holding this thing. It feels great. I got used to it. Now, granted, after about a 6-hour gaming session, my right thumb starts to cramp up because in Breath of the Wild, yes, I do have to use this quite a bit. But you know what? That happens. You play games for a long time, and your hands will cramp up. Even if the controller is the most beautifully designed thing, eventually your hand's going to cramp up. Unlike with like a mouse and keyboard where you have the freedom to pretty much do whatever. Yeah, on the console, that can be one thing of contention for a lot of people is these Joy-Cons. Now, obviously, if you don't like the Joy-Con, get a Pro Controller. I'm not getting a Pro Controller because those things are $70 and that is retarded. Why is the controller $70? Why isn't it the same price as like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation 4 controller or whatever, like $60, $50, $70 Nintendo? It costs more to buy a Pro Controller than it does a video game? Jeez Louise, that is ridiculous. And if you ask me, because I've used my friend's Pro Controller, the old Wii U's Pro Controller felt far more comfortable than the Switch's controller. But that can be seen both ways for people, is the controllers. Some people might get on with them really well. I have no problem with these. Some people might have the big issue with them. But you know what? That is going to be, your mileage may vary on that because some people have different hands. People are all different. Everyone handles and adapts to things differently. So you know what? Take that with a grain of salt. I like these controllers. You might not like them. Now, this screen is only 720p. You know what? I don't mind. It is gorgeous. Breath of the Wild looks absolutely beautiful on this. All the stuff I get to see on this is gorgeous. For a screen this size, I think it's a 6.5-inch screen, which is an odd size to be sure. 720p, that's fine. You don't need 1080p on a screen this size. Most of the time, you're never going to notice that anyways, even at 720p. Because of how small and condensed and dense the pixels are, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. The load times on this are pretty darn good. Now, I know a lot of people had load time issues with the Wii U. These are not nearly as bad. Like Zelda the Breath of the Wild, huge game. Absolutely huge game. Loads it perfectly fine. The load times are not horrendous. It's great. The user interface is actually very flowing and intuitive. I like the way that the whole system just works. You can go through the menus, nothing flashy. However, I know you can get themes. Right now it just has a black and white theme. I'm assuming Nintendo, because of the 3DS, they sold themes. You know what? I'm fine with that. Send me some themes. Let me put Splatoon on here. Let me put Zelda on here. Let me put Mario. Whatever. Those themes would be pretty cool. I would not mind that. But they're very basic. I mean, you have the Nintendo eShop, your albums, your settings, your power. Not a whole lot to go through the settings. And you know what? That's fine. Because it is strictly just mostly a console, right? As of right now, it is mostly a console. You're not going to get any streaming on here. No media devices, no Netflix, no Hulu, no YouTube, no Twitch. Which, in this day and age, I could see that as a step backwards, especially with how streaming and videos and all that has become so mainstream. However, Nintendo has been draconian with their whole Nintendo Creators Program, which I'm a member of, so I can show their footage. Does not hurt me one bit. However, for the average person like Angry Joe, Boogie2988, or whatever his number is, Rich Review Tech Used, none of those people, unless they're on their whitelist, can show footage because either they just they might badmouth Nintendo here and there. They aren't the most PG people of all time. So that kind of sucks. That you have to be part of that program in order to even just show footage. Like, you might be a die-hard fan and you want to really, really just sing the praise of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Or maybe you absolutely love snipper clips and you want to be like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing in the world. You want to show it off to people. Unfortunately, you can't unless you're part of the Nintendo Creator Program. And a lot of people just don't want to sign up for that kind of contract. And it's understandable. fully understandable. But at the same time, you can do a review of a game without having the footage. Yes, that sucks, but you know what? It is possible. It is very possible. But this console, I feel it was really well made. It is the sleekest console I think Nintendo's made. I mean, heck, you take off these Joy-Cons. I'm setting them right down here on my desk real fast. You set off the Joy-Cons, and what are you left with? You're left with a tablet. Like, plain and simple, that is what you're left with the tablet. And yes, it is still touchscreen. So if you, for whatever reason, want to go through their menus, like say when I've heard they're going to release Netflix in the future, as well as YouTube. So say you want to just use this, you don't want to use the Joy-Cons, boom, this will fit in your pocket, no problem. Mine with the Joy-Cons fits in my pocket. With the Joy-Cons connected, still fits in my pocket. But I have old Anchor Blues, and those things have deep pockets. But boom, there it is, just a tablet. And that is awesome. I think this is the sleekest design Nintendo's done in a long time. Now, I'm a big fan of the Wii U. However, I think Nintendo dropped the ball on that. They did not advertise it nearly as well as they are advertising this. Hell, if I don't watch TV often, but every other time there's a commercial break, you know what I see? A Nintendo Switch commercial. That is amazing. Good one on you, Nintendo. Because you know what I didn't see with the Wii U, Nintendo Wii U commercials? Almost until its dying day, people still thought that the Wii U was an adaptation or an add-on for the Nintendo Wii. And that is poor marketing. You cannot say that one way or the other. You can't, even if you're the biggest fanboy of Nintendo. That is poor marketing, and you cannot deny that. You can try to all you want. That was poor marketing on their side, and that's a shame. So this console, though, they're marketing it right. I think that it should have been released with one or two more games. I think 1-2 Switch should have been a free download for this, because that is just a horribly overpriced, glorified tech demo. It really is. Now, Nintendo Land with the Wii U was a glorified tech demo. However, that was fun. 1-2 Switch is not fun. I've played a little bit of it, and you know what? It's fun for 5 minutes, then you go on to the next thing because you realize every single minigame is just a variation of doing the same exact thing. And that is not cool. That's repetitive. That is just repetition to its worst degree, and I don't like that. Snipper clips, you know what, I never played it, but I watched my friends play it, and you know what, that's fine. Looks like a little time game waster. It's whatever it is. But anyone who's getting the Switch, they're getting it for Breath of the Wild. And honestly, if you don't want to pick up the Switch for Breath of the Wild, buy it on the Wii U. The game was designed for the Wii U. It looks gorgeous and plays still immaculately on the Wii U. So if you don't want it for the Switch, guess what? Buy it for the Wii U. However, the technology of this thing just feels so great. It's so cool knowing that the actual card system is the little cartridges again. I love that. Going back to old school, we got cartridges, a cartridge-based home console, which is also a portable console. Love it. I love that in some mini games or multiplayer games, these are single controllers. That is so cool. I love that. If you break your little Joy-Con dongles, you can replace them. They're not that expensive. They're actually cheaper than the Pro Controller, I believe, by $10, maybe $15. You can go and buy a set of these, and you can get them in the red and blue if you want. If you don't want these gray ones, go get the red and blue ones. I personally think the red and blue ones are ugly, so I don't have them. That's why I wanted the gray. But really, not a whole lot to go off with this console, because as of even the first month, there's, I think, 10 games that are coming out by the end of this month, and most of them are DLC games, and most of them are just like little throwaway titles that you can just have right now. But how many of them are ones that you really want? Zelda, Breath of the Wild. That's really the only one you want. Some people try to argue that Fast RMX is like a console seller. No, it isn't. Like, some people want to argue that that's the new F-Zero or it's F-Zero reincarnated. It's not F-Zero. It may look like F-Zero. It may have a lot of stuff like F-Zero. Sorry, that's not F-Zero. Just not. It's not. It's Fast RMX. Get over it. Nintendo kind of wants F-Zero to die. They don't care about it anymore. They might say they do. Guess what? They don't. We've gone consoles without F-Zero. So, just deal with it. But, as it is, right now, first month, day one adopters, I'm sure we got these consoles and we love them. I'm a day one adopter and I love it. I wish it had more games, but you know what? This fiscal year is going to be amazing. There are so many games coming down the pipeline. Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, just to name a couple. Sometime in the future, and this is a game I'm hyped about, No More Heroes 3. I never if you had told me back when No More Heroes 2 came out and the story ended, and that was like almost 10 years ago, that we were going to get No More Heroes 3 on a Nintendo console once more, I would have said you were lying to me. That is never going to happen. Suda51 is making No More Heroes 3, and I cannot be more excited. That is just absolutely amazing. I love Travis Touchdown. I love the stories of that. If you haven't played No More Heroes, please go out and buy it. It's for the Wii. I think they also made it for the PlayStation 3, but get the Wii version. It just plays better. It looks nicer with the cel-shaded graphics. The PS4 version kind of looks like it's trying too hard, and it's just not as good. But it is such a good game. If you guys never thought that Nintendo could release such a bloody, like, rated R mature game, No More Heroes is for you, especially if you are a video game or nerd of any kind. It caters to us. It is amazing. Just take my word for it. Get No More Heroes 1, then buy No More Heroes 2. They are amazing, amazing games. And the fact that we're getting No More Heroes 3 is just outstanding. I love it. But this console, at first month, not the most impressive launch, but you know what? The technology that's in here is absolutely stunning. I love everything that this console does as of right now. So that gives me incredibly high hopes for what this console will do in the future. The very near future, because I mean, the Splatfest, the test fires are coming, 6 of them this month, at the end of the month, the 24th, 25th, and 26th, 6 different 1-hour test fires. If you like Splatoon 1, get on the test fires for Splatoon 2, because I guarantee you it's going to be a console sell when that comes out. It's amazing. I mean, I don't want to gush about this console that much, because it has not withstood the test of time yet, because it is brand new. It's not even a month old, and it is just great. I love it. Yes, the console heats up. I know it has issues if you put the skins on it, but you know, I don't need a skin. That even though that attracts fingerprints, even though it's matte and it attracts fingerprints and grease, you know what? That looks fine as is. I like it. I don't have issues with the dock myself, although I do plan to modify my dock to where I just have the actual little board itself inside of like a nice little case, so I can just boom, boom, and not have to worry about scratching my screen ever. Yes, I'm going to buy a screen protector for it, but I still don't want to put it in the dock. After hearing the stories, I just don't. Especially when a big-time YouTuber like Blunty has shown little nicks on his, I really am hesitant to ever use that dock again. So I'm going to modify mine. Won't have to worry about that issue ever. Bada bing, boom. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So those are my impressions of the Nintendo Switch. I know I didn't go into specifics, because really, what's the point in going into numbers when this console, not even a month old, sold 1.5 million units. It outsold the Wii. That is incredible. Like, it hasn't outsold the Wii in total, but I mean in launch month. It outsold the Wii. I never thought that would be possible again for Nintendo to outsell their Wii. This thing is showing promise. The fact that it has an NFC reader and the right thing for amiibos, the little motion sensor, the everything about this console screams that VR is going to be coming to it, I hope. But everything about this console screams that it is going to stay for a long time, and it's going to get hopefully more support than the Wii U. I'm looking at you third-party companies. I hope, beyond all hope, that you support this thing, because yes, it may not be as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. I don't care. Breath of the Wild is an astonishingly, breathtakingly beautiful game on this console, and it plays so good. The fact that we don't have like a Ubisoft Assassin's Creed crappy port or anything like that, man, that's disheartening. We have Just Dance, and I'm gonna get Just Dance for this only because these controllers are supposed to be better for motion censoring than the Wiimotes, which is great. But yeah, I'm hyped for this. I'm on board Nintendo, and this is not just as a partner, not as a company man. Nintendo, I am on board for the future of this console because it is gorgeous. I mean, just look at that. It is sleek. It's beautiful. It performs perfectly like it should, and I'm on board. So if you guys want to check out the Nintendo Switch, hey, maybe a friend of yours have it. Maybe you already have it, and you just want to watch this for reconfirmation how awesome this system is. You know what? If you have a chance to play this at a store or friends, please take that opportunity. Treat yourself to playing it, and then pick it up. If you guys want to see third-party controls or third-party companies, not controls, companies, make games for this, it needs that install base. And you know what? At 1.5 million, it's got a big install base. It's got 1 foot already forward. It's going there, but it needs your support. Pick these up, and the third party will follow, because all they care about is the dollar sign. If they see that this has an install base that people are going to buy it, guess what? They're going to release the games for it. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I rambled off a lot longer than I expected. I wanted to make this like 10-minute video, but you know what? I get so impassionate about this, and the next video is going to be about Breath of the Wild. That one's probably going to be longer. This console has a bright future.